parts here. They're not all in order. I didn't have time to fix it entirely, but what I'm gonna do is make sure that my thing is working. Hi. Hey guys. So, stream previews like messed up. I don't know like what happened. I think the VOD is going to be okay, but I've not done this in a long time. Hopefully when the VOD comes out you can watch it all from the beginning, but I started streaming and I've been ranking the episodes. Here's what we got so far. This is just a freaking mess. I'm probably gonna have to fix it up in post, so it might not be the best time to watch right now, but I will try to fix it and get the whole thing released to you relatively soon. So we're just about to finish season 1. We are talking about the football episode, Gridiron Glory, which is pretty basic. I do like Jenny's design, and I think that might be enough to bump it up to B, but it's not that memorable. Honestly, like the Billy and Mandy football episode's probably better. Okay, we're on the right screen. Everything's recording. Jesus Christ, man. How complicated can this be? Like, yeah, there's definitely like stream here. I don't know what the hell happened though. I think it's like, yeah, I was in preview mode and then I didn't hit the thing, so I'm very sorry everybody. But it will be released in post and I'll probably do an edited version, so let's just get back into gear and figure this out. Jesus Christ. So let's get it started. Dress to Kill. This is the one where Briff and Tiff get like this magical crystal and they turn it into like a super powered suit. And apparently this is like, fun fact, the Teenage Robot fan base's YouTube channel, this is their least favorite episode for some reason, and I don't understand why. I think it's perfectly fine. I do like the Crust Cousins as villains, and I always like it when like a bully character somehow gets power, and they cannot have that power because they like get corrupt really easily. I'll probably put it in B. It's a fine episode, and I think it's like the most notable Crust Cousin episode, aside from one particular which will come up. I'll put it next to this. It's about as good. Anyway, the next one is Shell Game, which introduces the Silver Shell, which is a fun character, fun design. I'll pull up the image for you. Yeah, here's the guy. It's a robot superhero that Jenny starts to crush over because obvious reasons. She's designed to be a teenager. It's weird. But it turns out that this guy is fucking Sheldon, which implies a lot, and he does come back in a couple themed episodes around the character. I do love this design. I love the idea of there being another robot helping Jenny fight, but the moment you find out it's Sheldon, it just kind of ruins it. Not entirely. I mean, I still think it's a great episode. Probably up in A. I think it's just a really fun idea. And I do like the development that it brings. Like, the creators of the show obviously realize Sheldon is in the wrong, so I can't knock points for it. It's just like, wow, this guy sucks. Though I still think Tuck is more annoying than him. This stream has been a frickin' mess. I'm so sorry. But, not to fear, this is another S tier. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but this is definitely one of the best. Daydream Believer is pretty much an expansion on the I See No Evil episode with the special eyes and special vision. Jenny gets these new enhanced eyes that can change like what sort of vision she has, and one of the visions is a daydream vision. And basically it makes it look like Dr. Seuss. And there's this whole sequence where everything is in a Dr. Seuss style the whole time. And it's kind of wacky. It's another big deal. Like, it pretty much makes the series look super expensive, which it probably was. I'm sure it's one of the reasons it got canceled so soon. But, yeah, let me just pull this shit up because it's so wacky. Look at this shit. This is pretty accurate to the style. I'm kind of amazed. I think this might also be the episode where, yeah, she's in a ragtime style. They do a bunch of different art styles. I think for the design and styles alone, it should be S tier. I think it's just such a cool idea because this is just kind of shit that a robot would deal with if it had special vision. It's just one of the most creative episodes in the show, so I gotta put it in S. Definitely check it out if you can. Alright, This Time with Feeling. That's this one. This is another, it's sort of a pseudo sequel to the See No Evil series. Except this time she gets like nerve endings so that she can feel pain. Well, not feel pain, but like feel a tickle and stuff. Because usually she doesn't have like pain inhibitors or any sense of pain. But they decide to put nerve endings on, and it backfires when she has to fight this super muscular Hercules guy. And I think this is one of my favorites, mostly because of the monster or villain of the week show. It's this Hercules knockoff, voiced by Bruce Campbell, which I think is freaking hilarious. I don't know what his name is. Let me just look up. I hope this isn't... Yeah, it's this guy. Himcules, which... Amazing name, by the way. Himcules. So yeah, he's voiced by Bruce Campbell, and he has this thing where, like, the more confident in himself he is, the more misogynist he gets more power. Which has really aged well. I think it's a really funny idea for a villain. I also just love his design, too. I love his zigzag hair. And it turns out he's just like some sort of dweeb guy at the end. And it kind of works out. I do think this is a notable episode. But the only strange thing about it is that this is probably the most famous episode to pull audio from for other purposes. If you guys know, you know. And we are all going to hell for it. But anyway, Saved by the Shell. This one, I believe. Let me look up the thing for this. So I think this is one where they do a date and they go to a zoo. But he's trying to reveal the secret identity, and it just keeps backfiring. And for some reason, she falls for Don Prima instead, like the jock dude, and he gets all jealous. And this is like when they sort of ruined the Silver Shovel concept, at least in my opinion. Yeah, this is hard to follow. I did definitely watch this episode, but it does not ring familiar. I think this is where they like go to a museum and there's like a snake, but I could be mixing it up with a completely different episode. Unfortunately, they kind of ruined the whole Silver Shells concept. Oh god, I saw some really weird art. Yeah. I just really don't remember this episode that well at all, and it's a sign that, like, this is from a different episode. I don't know what's going on. I'm probably just going to put it in C tier. Yeah, that's where it belongs. Next to Sheldon. The failure. I really do like Silver Shell. It'd be cool if they did something where, like, he does become an actual robot, but it never got around, so we're stuck with what we got. Alright. Hopefully this is going to be... We're getting pretty close to the end of the stream, so after I take my break, this will be pretty fast. Alright, next episode, Trade Show Showdown. So they go to this, like, 60s style, like, electronic show, and Jenny's looking at other inventions, but they're all just, like, non-sentient, like, robots. Not even robots, just, like, tools and stuff, and it, like, she's not okay with it. Oh. But there's also the return of Vexus. I didn't even know Vexus was in this episode. I probably should have read all of these before, but yeah. This gets kind of weird. I think they have a thing where they like summon different appliances. But I do really love how it looks like an old style like convention. Because this show has this like 1950s, 1960s look, even though it's supposed to be more modern. Yeah, I can't really find the right pictures. So, you're just gonna have to take my word for it. I probably should have. Oh, right, yeah, there's this like evil tin can Vexus takes over all like the basic ass inventions, which I find fairly fun. And it's a fun idea, seeing Jenny interact with other robots, which does get more development later on, so I'll give it a B, just to keep it simple. Yeah. Okay, 2 more and then we can take a break. The Wonderful World of Weasley. So this is obviously a Disney parody, and it's a really fun idea, but, Weasley? Are we serious? Weasley? Why wasn't it like Ziz? Or like Fizz? Why Wiz? Oh my god. But this is a really fun episode until the ending, which I'll get to in a sec. Basically, Jenny goes to a theme park, but realizes that there's all these animatronics that are being forced to do just one thing their whole existence, and she gets really pissed. Let me see if I can pull up the clip. Don't mind that. That's just an alternate dimension. Basically, she sees that these robots. Can I find this clip? Give me a second, guys. Basically, she sees that these robots are being forced to do one task every day, and she wants to do this like robot riot to get them out. So has this stream been coherent at all? Probably not, right? Yeah. Oh, I'm always seeing the weird ass ending. Oh, this is the clip. Let me pull it up. Alright. I don't know what the hell that is. Alright.
Hold on tight. You humans should be ashamed of yourselves, tormenting harmless robots this way. Be free, little woodland robots.
Where are we supposed to go?
I said, be free.
I just love that part. This is definitely one of my. I feel like this is the main example of an episode that was so good until the ending. The ending is a little squandered because they do this thing where they free all the robots and then they do normal human jobs and have rights, and it just becomes a mess. So, where you think it's going to go is that they're going to put them all back in their places at the theme park. But then they do this thing where they keep singing the theme park theme or whatever, like it's a small world kind of vibe. And then they decide, let's put all these robots on a rocket and put them into the moon. Which is so random and out of place, I just don't know where the hell that was going. Like, such a weird idea, but that scene and this whole concept is really fun. So I am going to put it in A tier, but probably like a little lower. Yeah. That seems right. Okay. One more. Call hating. This one isn't really remarkable, but it is like a fun idea. It goes back to the Wakeman and Jenny thing where they had the mother and daughter relationship. In that case, it's okay, but as you can see here, it's a pretty small description. It's not remarkable, but it's fine. It is kind of strange, because this show doesn't really do season finales, like, not in the traditional sense. So this is the last episode of season 1, and it just kind of fizzles out. And the thing is, it is mostly a slice of life show, but there is like story elements. So it's early. It's like it was ahead of its time in that sense, because usually it was just one or the other, but this one has a bit of both. So it's not a notable episode, so I'll probably just put it in C. I think I like it more than these. Yeah. Yeah, that seems right. Okay. We'll clean it up later, but for now, this is season 1 ranked. We'll do the rest. If you can see the VOD, you can catch up, but I don't think that's going to work. I'm sorry for the mess, but I'm going to take a little break, and then we can get this shit finished. Alright? See you soon. La 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 la. Oh. back from lunch. Hopefully my mind's a little cleared and we can get through the rest of this relatively easy. Sorry, but stream's been such a mess. It's just been a while, I guess. Hopefully the VOD though will be okay and I shouldn't have to like fix it up. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So let's get back into it. Alright, Season 2. So here's all Season 1 ranked so far. I do think Season 1's pretty good. It's got a lot of iconic episodes and some really good ones, as you can see here. But I do think Season 2 improves on some things, and we'll get into that. So, first we got the Christmas special, A Robot for All Seasons. And this one is kind of crazy. So, like, it starts off pretty, like, mundane, like, Jenny's going to help Santa, and she helps him, like, deliver gifts and stuff. It's a pretty simple idea. Then something weird happens. Jenny meets this, like, Victorian-style, like, rich kid. He's, like, all depressed and Eeyore-like. And then, all of a sudden, she gets kidnapped. And they do some very strange, like, time skip, almost. And apparently Jenny has turned out to be evil. She had this weird thing where she apparently gets tricked and reprogrammed to be a holiday destroyer. So she just harasses people anytime a holiday shows up and all the holidays are ruined. Which is such a wild idea. It kind of reminds me of like X-Men Days of Future Past. Like how the future is like dark and messed up and she has to go back and fix it. But it's such a weird idea for a special. I think it kind of stands out. I definitely want to put it in like A tier. I don't know if it's the best, but I think it should be up there. It's just, I think it's notable because of how strange and dark it is. Because like all her friends want her dead, including her mom. It's kind of strange and dark for a Christmas special, but I think it's notable for that reason. Got a little grog there, sorry about that. Also, here it is. I put it right here in A tier. Alright, next up is Future Shock. If this is, yeah. Future Gun. Alright, so apparently Vanessa Wakeman has a future scope device that I guess like predicts the future in some way. And Tucker takes a look into it and thinks that Jenny's going to kill Brad and do horrible things. I do think this is probably the best Tuck episode. I'm putting in A tier for sure. Yeah, I think all of these episodes are probably about the same level-wise, but I'll fix it later. But anyway, I think this episode is notable because you actually feel for Tuck. I think for once, instead of being an annoying character, like, I think it's a genuine good idea for an episode. And it's one of the most memorable. Like, they go to a movie theater, and they just watch, like, a generic sci-fi movie. Let me look up, see if they have any pics of this. Yeah. And then there's this part where Tuck, like, traps Jenny because he's concerned that she's gonna do something horrible. But it's all a misunderstanding. I won't get too much into the details. But it's just a really fun idea. And it's nice that there is a couple Tuck episodes that aren't, like, bad. So, he's a little redeemable. Definitely the best of the bunch. And a really funny twist, which I will not spoil here. Okay, Humiliation. This is the one where Dr. Waitman does something at the school. It's kind of like a parent-teacher conference. She's being asked to do an assembly project. And yeah, they basically do the equivalent of showing off baby pictures to the school. And it's an okay concept. I'll probably just put it in B here. I think the only notable thing is that like Jenny turns into a turtle, which I think is a fun gag, and she like gets stuck in her own shell. Though I don't remember exactly how it ends. I think like Jenny does something to like embarrass Vanessa, or I'm not entirely sure. See, I did watch all these episodes, but it was a while ago, so yeah, it sounds like a B tier to me. All right, this is the one. If you know, you know. It's Last Action Zero. This is the one that famously got altered in a particular way, and it's probably what most people know this show for. I will not elaborate because this is a stream and I shouldn't be talking about something like that, but yeah. It kind of sucks because this is a pretty good episode. I like the idea, basically Brad gets put into the Skyway Patrol so that he can help out Jenny, and he's like jealous that Jenny gets to do all these cool things, so now he's an action hero. But he figures out that it's nothing but paperwork, and it's really funny. It's like all this bureaucratic stuff. I do really love like the Skyway Patrol uniform. It's like this old style airship and kind of thing. Let's see what we got here. This episode's famous though because the Rock People. This is the episode with the Rock People. And yeah. They want to eat her brain. That's the original context. They eat like metal, so they want to eat Jenny's brain because it's like nutritious for them. It's a strange idea that got... Oh no. Yeah. If you know what this is, it got altered to be something else, and I will not elaborate. Also, I think, like in the original episode, I think some of them are women. Because this guy could have a thong on, but this is definitely like a bra, so it definitely got altered, but yeah. I still think it's a good episode, but if you can't disconnect it from the other stuff, then I understand. It's very awkward. I'll just put it in B tier. Like, here. Yeah, that works. Maybe just A tier, yeah. Anyway, Mind Over Matter. This is one of my personal favorites. It's not talked about a lot, but this is like definitely up there for me. If I'm completely biased, I put it in S tier, but I'll just put it in A tier. Just be fair and all. Basically, what I call this episode is a transformation arc. It's a very niche thing where like a character has to do different attacks or different forms to get a solution solved. And basically, this whole episode is about Jenny having to do different bodies to fight a very particular type of monster that's like this electricity person. I just call him an energy vampire because that's pretty much what he is, and he talks like a vampire too. And he comes from space. It's a strange idea, but I really like it. It's this guy. I think he's called like Blitzo? Not Blitz. What's his name? Gigawatt, yeah. And he has this Transylvanian style voice. So I like to think this is the unofficial Teenage Robot Halloween episode, which is why I want to save it and make a Halloween like vlog thing talking about it in October. So hopefully that will get made, and that's why I want to be very small about the details so that we can save it for that video. But anyway, one of my favorites. Moving on. Okay, nothing important. Love 'em or Leash 'em. This is another strange one. So basically, Jenny gets attracted to this new robot male. I don't know if they have his name here. I think he's just like, is it Mug or is that just a doctor? But anyway, he's looks normal. You don't really get the twist right away, but apparently he's designed to be a robot dog, like one of those classic robot dogs that you'd get as a toy. Yeah, here's what he looks like. Honestly, he just looks like a dude. He just looks like, I mean, the head shape's kind of like a bulldog, I guess, and he's got like an affection like a dog. And everyone kind of makes fun of her because he acts like a dog, but then eventually she does figure out that he's designed to be a robot dog, which is very strange. I guess it's funny, but oh yeah, I forgot about this. She has a dream sequence where she gets like, oh my god, let me pull this clip up. She has, wow. This show is so freaking weird. This is so bizarre. Like, that's the thing with it being like a traditional cartoon. They just do weird scenes like this, but like, comparing it to other episodes, like, I can't. There's like two ways I look at the show. Like, through a cartoon logic, don't think about it way, and a logical, like, what does this mean? What are the implications? Like, how does robo rights work in this world? It's just so freaking weird. I do like the design of the guy, so I think I'll put it in B for that. But, yeah, there is some weird implications with this one. I don't like it, Chief. Alright. Teen Time. Say that 3 times fast. This one has the introduction of the character Misty. But besides that, it's not really that remarkable. Let me look up the designs for the other characters. See what comes up. So yeah, they're like this Teen Titans kind of thing, and yeah, they're fine. They're not really remarkable though. You got this squid guy, he's like made of water and he does that kind of stuff, and then you got the strong dude and Misty, who gives me like this Raven vibe. And it's cool that she gets introduced here, but there's an obvious reason these two never came back. So I'm just gonna put it in C tier. It's not really that remarkable, but it's okay. Alright, Pajama Party Palooza. This one has like Jenny trying to do a regular pajama party thing. Like a normal girl sleepover, and then like things get weird. Does she invite like the bully characters? Yeah, I guess she's trying to conform. Let me look up the plot synopsis again. Yeah, so she gets invited to the slumber party from Bryn and Tiff, but then she gets used as like a way to pull pranks in naughty ways. So eventually she has to stop and do something with that. But the weird way this ends is that she puts them all on like a car or like a spaceship, and she like kind of traps them on a building. They don't seem to have the picture here, but oh god. I forgot that was in this episode. Yeah, this is one of those shows that has very strange cartoon physics that, you know, might awaken someone. So, watch at your own risk. It is a good show, but there are little hiccups like that and make it a little strange. But yeah, basically, they do that. I think she, like, takes all the animals out of a zoo. It's an okay idea, but I think it could have been a lot more interesting, so I'll put it in, like, Yeah, I'll put in C. Alright. Sister Sledgehammer. So it's more of the sisters, which is really cool. This is the kind of episodes I wanted. I wish there were more episodes like this, because this is one of the best, probably, in the top 10. So let me show some pictures from it. Basically, Jenny becomes like an evil mech, kind of like in that other one, Hostile Makeover. But this time, like, she's like completely cut off. There's nothing they can do. So all the other sisters have to fight back, and they turn into like a mech of their own. They kind of combine into a different thing. But it's no use, so they have to figure out another way how to stop her. And I just really love this concept. This is the kind of thing that, I like how she builds up and then becomes this big mech monster. And I just like the use of the sisters, because they are just not used at all. Especially love how XJ8 is used. But, yeah, definitely one of the better ones. I just cannot think right now. My brain's a little mushy, but let's put it in A tier. Like, yeah. It's better than the other one. It's emotional, like you really think Jenny's screwed for a second, but it all works out in the end. Yeah. Alright, this is the last themed Silver Shell episode. It's better than the other one, and it gets back to the point of like Sheldon being kind of a douchebag, because this prom does not go well. But I really love how the prom looks. I really love the colors. I mean, this is just one of those shows where the looks alone is part of why you're watching it. So yeah, it's your typical school dance episode, but everything goes wrong, and then Jenny has a pretty good like freak out moment. But like, I really feel for her in this episode, and also it's got this cool design. I like this dress. I think it's pretty neat. Oh yeah, I don't know if this is the first episode. I think the Raggedy Android is the first appearance of the Space Bikers. But they're probably the best recurring villain besides Vexus. But yeah, here's her in the dress. That's pretty neat. Oh yeah. I love how she freaks out here. One of my favorites. And it's really, it's just more evidence to how like annoying Sheldon is, and how like how much of a douche he actually is, because he just does not get Jenny at all. He just doesn't, and he thinks that pretending to be someone else will work, but it won't. And I'm happy that Jenny is strong enough to figure that shit out. So I do think it's a pretty good episode, and I think the Silver Shell might come back later, but this is the last one that's themed around him, at least. So I'll put it in B. Right about there. Sounds good. Okay, Around the World in 80 Pieces. This one's pretty fun. It's the only, like, globe-trotting episode, aside from the one time she goes to Japan. So I think it's at least A tier for that. I think it's a fun idea. But the villain that gets introduced isn't that great, and he comes back maybe too many times. I think his name's like Cluster or something. Like Bluster. It's this dude. I don't remember his name. Oh, Krakus. He's like the incompetent, bumbling old man bot, and somehow he has a device that completely disattached Jenny and throws all the pieces of her all around the world, and they had to go around collecting her again. And I think this is a fun idea. They like go into a castle at some point, and there's a thing where Jenny's like ahead the whole episode, so they have to do stuff like attach her to a knight's armor and try to get all the pieces back. It's just a fun idea. Even if it's not like the most amazing one, I'd put it in A. Yeah, it seems right. Okay. Armageddroid. So Season 2 I think is better than 1 because it has a lot of world building, including this one. Apparently, Wakeman made some sort of like unstoppable like peacekeeper, kind of like Ultron. It all went wrong, so let's see what he looks like. I do really love this dude's design. He kind of reminds me of, I'm gonna pull him up. Yeah, he reminds me of, like, movies like Metropolis. This is the most Art Deco character. I mean, look at these, like, triangles and shit. Look how scary this dude is. He looks like that one, Queen album cover, News of the World. I'm sure there is a reference going on here. I just don't get it entirely. Very Metropolis, very Art Deco. It's a cool idea. So basically, yeah, he was supposed to be a peacekeeper, but it all went wrong, of course, because Wakeman is a weird character. She just does not seem to get shit done right. She's like good at making things, but she has the worst luck, and honestly, I don't know where her alignment is. I feel like she's more on the neutral side of being good than, you know, awful. She might just be neutral entirely. But yeah, he's like this indestructible thing, and I believe Mrs. Wakeman put him in like the center of the earth, and now he's out. And he has to destroy all threats, which means, well, I guess humans are threats because they are violent, so they has to kill everybody. Your classic plot. I think it's pretty good. It's definitely like the fight that Jenny has the hardest time with, and I like that Jenny has to learn more about Wakeman's past. I do believe they also introduced the fact that she was in a Skyway Patrol, which is a neat little detail, and they bring it back up. So I'll put it here. Yeah, that seems right. Okay, Kilgore. This guy's okay. This is the episode about Kilgore. He's like this weird, like, wind-up robot, but he wants to destroy the world, and he has the classic evil, like, Invader Zim style high-pitched voice. Everyone thinks he's cute. So when Jenny finds out he wants to destroy things and she tries to destroy him, everyone's pissed. So yeah, it's one of those kind of situations. I think it's okay. I think the character's voice does get a little graining, but he is supposed to be annoying, so it's like it's a this and that kind of situation. I wonder if I could find the clip, but there's this really funny part where she gets rejected after almost destroying Kilgore, and she runs away in this really fucking funny way. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, I don't think I'll get clips of the episode, but there's this scene where she's like running away, dejected. Okay, this is worth it. Just give me a second, I'm gonna look this up. You should have this clip. No, no, no. Alright, it's looking like I can't find it, unfortunately, but it is a really funny clip. Oh. Yeah. I guess we'll just have to move on. But yeah, it's a B tier episode. He does come back for another one. And I do like the idea of him, but he is a little Speaking of annoying, here's another Tucker episode. This one, I believe, is called A Pain in My Sidekick. He's supposed to be like the Silver Shell's sidekick because he figures out Sheldon is Silver Shell. So, yeah, you can imagine how annoying this episode is. It's just not very fun. It's just Tuck being Tuck, so if you like him, that's great, but I just do not like this character, so I'm putting it at C. And this is Crash Pad Crash, which almost doesn't even feel like an episode of the show. It's basically a rehash of the Party Machine episode where Jenny throws a party. Basically, she makes her own like treehouse kind of bachelor pad thing, but she's partying every night and gets tired of all this shit, and they have to keep partying because it's every night. But she's done with this shit, so I don't know. They don't really make advantage of her as a character in this episode. It really just feels like it could have been anybody. So I'm gonna have to put this in D. It's just really not that remarkable. This is one of the weaker ones for me anyway. Not a fan. And it's crazy to me that the next episode is like the most important in the whole show. Escape from Cluster Prime. Which, it's kind of confusing. So, according to this episode guide, it came out like midway through the season. But I could have sworn it was like the season finale, because that would make a lot more sense. I mean, this is like an hour-long special, like, kind of concluding the stuff with Vexus. It would make a lot more sense if it was at the end of the season, but I'm not sure. This is Wikipedia, so it could be wrong. Though, fair warning, if you guys do decide to watch this on Paramount Plus like I did, try using an episode guide, because they completely messed up the order after season 1. Cluster Prime for them is like the last episode, and if you just watch all the episodes in order on Paramount without context, shit starts not making sense because they get episodes in season 3 that are after this episode, and they don't explain it, obviously. It makes a lot more sense if you watch this one first, so just know what you're getting into. But anyway, this is definitely up in S tier. It's probably the best thing in the show. Probably the best episode. It's about Jenny going to Cluster Prime and interacting with other robots. She almost considers staying there because, you know, it's a better life. But this is the home of her arch nemesis, Vexus, who... Vexus is just awesome. She's voiced by Eartha Kitt, Yzma from Emperor's New Groove, and this is kind of peak of the show. Like, it's the highest budget. They got, like, these expensive CGI backgrounds and stuff. I can understand why people say it's the best episode, but I don't think it's really fair to compare this to, like, these. Because this is a special, and these are just, like, 11-minute episodes, so... I'd still say this Return of the Raggedy Android episode is the best one, but Cluster Prime obviously needs to be up here. It's probably the best of the show. Period. But I'll just let the episode say that for itself. They have these awesome characters, kind of like parallels to the Earth characters, including this one called Vega, which Jenny doesn't get to interact with a lot of girls, which is kind of strange. So she pretty much just has, like, this character, Vega, and Misty, and, like, the bully characters. So it's kind of strange, but it's cool that these characters at least exist. And Vega's pretty cool. She's got, like, a sword hand and all that stuff. Oh, let me show a picture. Alright, I'm getting a little better. Hopefully we can get this done soon. But yeah, it's obviously Escape from Cluster Prime. People really want this to be like an actual video game, and I find that funny. I love when people make like these fake video games. Okay, here's Vega. So yeah. Alright, next one. I'm gonna try to rapid fire this. Finish it up. Oh boy. Am I in the right order? Okay, I think I'm officially out of order because I didn't get to finish the rest of them. But let's just do it. Okay, Victim of Fashion. This is also one of the best ones. Let me just look for the image. So basically, this is a whole like almost half-hour special. It's double length, like instead of one episode being 2 segments, the whole episode is just this part. And it's all about Jenny having different forms through fashion. Because Jenny can transform into anything, so you get all these awesome scenes where she's in different outfits and different things, and it's basically like a competition between her and the Crust cousins. That's freaking gross, but I think this actually is S tier. I mean, it just depends what you think about it, but the designs in this episode are so cool. Let me pull this up. Yeah, this is like, she turns into like the Birth of Venus painting, and she gets all these other cool designs, like different hairstyles. And this is just some of the funnest things in the show, for me at least, because she's a superhero, but she's also like designed to be a teenage girl, so she's interested in these things. And when she actually gets to do them, it's this really neat like contrast. I love this episode. It's definitely up there. I love this like metal Victorian thing where she has like these razor blades coming out of her. It's really funny. And also the fashion from them is pretty cool. Like, it depends on what you're interested in, but I think this is one of the best episodes for sure. Just visually, it's awesome. And then they have this whole thing where she has to like be thinner, and they learn that, you know, the moral is like talking about caring about yourself and not being popular and all that shit. But oh yeah, they have Pimp Jenny. She's in like a pimp jacket and a hat. That's insane. This episode's crazy, but we gotta move on. I could talk about those designs forever, but definitely check that one out if you can. Alright, next up is Designing Women, which is a suspicious title to begin with. Let me look at the plot for this. So Sheldon does a thing where she's, you know how in those classic cartoons where it's like, I need to make a love potion? I think Sheldon steals like the blueprints for Jenny and is gonna figure out how to make her fall in love with him or some shit. You know, fucking weirdo behavior. Classic Sheldon. Fucking weird, fucking freak over here. But this episode is notable because Vexus goes into disguise as this character, and Sheldon actually falls for her instead. And they do this weird thing where, like, she seduces him, and then Sheldon has, like, this fantasy where she becomes his wife, and this is so weird. People have been debating, like, what this means for the world. Like, you can have robot children? Like, how the fuck does this work? This is the brain going again. Like, I should just try to avoid it, but pregnant robot. Baby robot. Disgruntled marriage. Oh my god, this is so bizarre. I love this show. But it is weird. Yeah, it's definitely nothing. I think this is a more notable one. I do really love this design for the Vexus undercover, but it's got some strange implications for sure. I'll put it in A tier because I think it's iconic. Let's do that. All right, next up is Robot Riot. Robot Riot! So this is like, what was that show? Crash Bots? Or, Robot Wars? It's pretty much that. So, Tuck gets the idea to go into a robot convention, like a robot tournament, and decides to get Jenny to be his, representative, and that goes about as well as you'd think. Yeah, I think, like, Jenny gets beat up at some point. Oh. So there's an anime reference here. I thought it was like Akira, but I don't... Something's up. I wonder if they explained it in the episode. It's definitely giving me like a Yu-Gi-Oh vibe, or like a tournament series. Maybe it's like a Yu Yu Hakusho reference. But yeah, I do think this is another Tuck episode that I can stand. I do like this Jenny design where she has to be pretend to be evil and stuff. And do they have that tiny little robot that Tucker made? He has this like little RC car with a face that can talk, and it goes. It just makes one noise. It just goes bull. And yeah, it's not really that notable, but I'll give it a B tier. You know, I really need to invest in a second monitor so I know which screen I'm on. But hopefully I can fix this in post. Anyway, let's get to the next one. Brad Venture. This is a big one. You know what, guys? I need to take a little break again. It's just getting out of hand. I'm gonna be here forever if I don't fix this, so hold on. Alright, I did it. We're all caught up. We only got like 20-ish episodes left, so hopefully the rest of this should be pretty simple. Alright, Brad Venture is a pretty famous one. This introduces the character of Melody, which is pretty neat. Basically, Brad's just going on an adventure and he goes into this like underground cellar and he meets a reoccurring villain that definitely had more going on, but the show got canceled, so they never got to do something with that. This is definitely one of the better ones. I think it's a great episode for Brad, so if you're a Brad fan, definitely check this one out. I think it's a notable one. And Melody's a great character. And it's because of a certain twist, which I'll bring up later, because she comes back. Alright, Mama Drama. Is this right? Because this is saying Jenny is convinced Wakeman's new boyfriend is a psychopath, but isn't that the plot to Price of Love? Let me sure the wiki got this right, because this seems wrong. Oh. Okay. No, that is the right one. So I was getting the titles mixed up, but this is the one where Mrs. Wakeman goes on a date with this like Russian dude. I don't think he's actually Russian, but he's got like this. It's pretty much just like Vlad Plasmius kind of look. And Jenny thinks he's like an evil scientist dude, but he's not. He's just a guy. And Jenny ruins the date, but it is pretty funny. I like this idea, and she gets some funny lines in it, so I'll put it in B. Probably like here. This one's so weird, man. Okay. Toying with Jenny. This one has that famous picture of Jenny like holding a toy version of herself. Let me just pull up the episode. So this is where I'm getting confused, because when I watched this series and rewatched it, this is supposed to be taking place after Cluster Prime, but the main villain in this is Vexus. Okay, here's the picture I was talking about. This reminds me of the scene in Hercules where he's talking to Zeus. It's like, but Dad, I'm an action figure. I just thought this was funny. And it's used as a meme a lot in the community, so. Yeah, her toys turn out to be evil because they're being controlled by Vexus and Krakus, that weird guy from earlier. That talks like an old man, because that's the joke. Yeah. It's an okay one, but it does bring up the question, like, so I'm just confused because at the end of Escape from Cluster Prime, Vexus gets her shit rocked and gets all beat up, and they bring this up later, but that would suggest that this episode would be at the end of the season, and I feel like that makes a lot more sense, but I don't want to have to fact check right now, so we'll just go with this being like a coincidence or whatever. Brian Cruz, can you tell me what the hell is going on? Because I don't even know how to say your name, apparently. Okay. And I'll put this one in B tier. It's a fun idea. I like the idea with the toys and stuff. It's cute. And last one of season 2 is TMNT. Yeah, that's the name of the episode, and I will not elaborate. This one has the return of Misty, and it's a really fun idea. The other characters from Team never come back, so now Misty and Jenny are just like hanging out because Misty has no place to stay. So they pretty much just do like girl stuff, and it's really fun, like having this cooler, edgier character hang out with Jenny. this is the shit I live for with this show. But what's interesting is that at the end, like, Misty and Jenny have a falling out. And then, like, shit gets weird from there. But definitely a fun one. It's got, like, teenager tropes in it, but I think Mystery's a cool character. She's got this Raven vibe that I really like. And she can turn herself into Mist, which is cool. Alright. And now to the final season, Season 3. As you can see, Season 3 has the distinction of starting in November of 2006, while the last season ended in September of the previous year. So almost 2 years later, Season 3 happens, and the craziest thing about it is that it's not even aired on actual Nickelodeon, it's aired on the side channel Nicktoons Network, which I didn't realize at the time, because I was mostly watching that instead of the main channel. But this is probably where most people watch the show, because it became like a rerun feature on Nicktoons Network. That's probably where I watched most of it, to be honest. I only saw like one or two on the actual Nickelodeon channel, but that was when I was really young. Anyway, let's get into it. Teen Idol, basically, Jenny gets believed to be a god by this alien species, and they don't do really anything interesting with it, so I'll put it in C tier. It's fine. But what's kind of funny about it is that it ends with Sheldon being trapped on a spaceship, and that's just how it ends. He gets trapped into space and shit. And then the next episode actually elaborates on it. And this is good old Sheldon. It's a time skip, which is kind of strange. Sheldon gets stuck on that spaceship, and he doesn't come back to Earth until he's a senior citizen age. But of course, it's only been a week on Earth because of how like time works and shit. So yeah, it's kind of neat. I like this whole thing. Like, he becomes like a space adventurer, a space pirate. All this crazy shit happens, and yeah. But at the end of the episode, they just get him back to his normal age, like no problem. So it's not really sequential, but it does like build out the world a bit more. And I do kind of like that it follows up this episode pretty well. So yeah, this is another one of the better Sheldon themed episodes, so I'll give it some props. Also, I do like how he looks. I'll give you a glimpse at the episode. Yeah, here's old man Sheldon for you. And he still has his goddamn hoodie, too. But now he wants, like, revenge on Jenny because of that. Which, good reason. Also, this is what those weird aliens look like. But it's really not that much of a good episode, so... Oh, right. She kind of gets into, like, a strange Tron outfit to, like, turn him back. Also, she does some of this. I won't elaborate for reasons, and I'm losing my mind, so let's move on. You, B tier. Now. Go there. Yeah. Yeah, I'll fix it up later, I don't care. We're almost done, and I can't... Oh, I keep changing the goddamn camera. Anyway, Girl of Steel. This one's about her stealing like this new hip thing, kind of like an iPod. It's okay, but I think the writing on this one's a little off. Like, she gets a little too crazy about stealing this popular thing. And I don't know. I feel like it's not exactly what she would do. I know she wants to be popular, and getting a musique, as they call it, would help being in the popular crowd. But, I don't know. It really doesn't go anywhere interesting. So yeah, I'll just keep it in C tier. Alright. Next one, Missed Opportunities. This is one of the most interesting episodes, and knowing what we know now, this season kind of feels off. It feels like a filler season, and that's because it kind of is. It was sort of meant to be like hinting at further developments of what was going to go on, because there was going to be a season 4 where they were gonna develop more parts about the world. For example, Misty was gonna be a villain that gets turned evil because her and Jenny split apart. So this is the farthest it goes. Like, I think Misty gets hired to do bad stuff from a mercenary team. Yeah. She does some mercenary stuff and it's not cool. It's getting in the way of their friendship. But it turns out that she'll turn into a villain, but we never get to see it, unfortunately, so it just kind of ends there. It's a shame, because Misty is a really cool character, but I'll give it props for at least starting the storyline. It deserves to be, like, right next to the other one. Alright, Puppet Bride. This one's not great. I mean, it's about an old puppet that Jenny, or Mrs. Wakeman made when she was in, like, preschool or kindergarten. And, of course, this puppet called the Little Acorn wants to be Jenny's husband. Because, of course, it's like a classic horror story, like Bride of Frankenstein kind of thing, but there's not a lot to it. I do like his voice, and I love this creepy-ass design of him being rusted and disheveled, but there's not a lot going on here. Basically, he gets egotistical and wants to, like, take control of Mrs. Wakeman, because he gets a higher self or whatever, but I keep calling this guy Slappy in my head, because he's just freaking Slappy from Goosebumps, and it's not a great episode. So, let's put that in C. I almost want to put it in D tier, but it's not that bad. And I do like the horror parts of him being stuck in the woods forever, so I'll give it that. Histotronics is kind of weird. Historitronics, like historian electronics. This is like another special. At least it feels like a longer episode, but I guess it is just a mini one. Basically, Jenny and her friends get stuck on an island somehow. I don't remember how, but basically they have these animatronic figures of historical figures. Kind of like how Disney does the Hall of Presidents. And this is actually a callback to the Walt Disney episode, the Wisley episode. So it's kind of neat. I do like this idea. Apparently Wisley is alive, but he's been stuck on this island because he made killer historic robots. Which is kind of cool. And also Jenny is like on low power, so she's limited in what she can do. So I think it's neat. It's not like amazing. I feel like it does drag at points, but I can at least put it in B tier for the cool concept. Alright. No harmony with melody. This one is the return of Melody from the Brad Venture episode, and the spoiler here is that Melody is actually a robot. Kind of like Jenny, she does have like extending arms and all this transformation stuff, but her father, like this evil scientist guy, actually made her look like a girl, so it's kind of an interesting dynamic, because Brad actually does really like this character, but Jenny doesn't trust her, so it has this interesting thing, and I do think, although Jenny is harsh, it is actually on character for her, because she's designed to be this detection robot fighting evil and all this stuff. She wasn't really designed to have nuance, so I think it's actually one of the more notable episodes from the season. I will put it, yeah, I'll put it there. That sounds good. Yeah. Also, this has that one scene where they do the reveal what she looks like, and it's kind of cool. Spoilers ahead. Let me see if I can get the clip. Yeah, so this is what Melody looks like with her skin. And this is what she looks like underneath. Holy shit. That is badass. This is like, I'm normal! And then this comes out. I'm like, holy shit. This is such a wild design for a robot in like this kid's cartoon. Such a cool show, man. Yeah, can I get like the actual clip? Do they have that here? No, it doesn't look like it, but yeah. I don't think this is it. Let me just do a quick check.
What brings you to town? You're looking.
Okay, this isn't the clip, but yeah, she's a really cool character. I feel bad for her. Yeah, this is a bit of Melody for you, but it's not the clip I was referencing. Anyway, let's move on. We are almost done with season 3 and the rest of the stream. So, just hang in there, guys. We're close. Look how close we are. Alright, Tuckered Out. This is a Tuck episode. Might be the worst one in the series. I think it might be. Basically, it's about him wanting to do a movie because he has to do a school project. So he forces everyone he knows to be in it. And, yeah, he's really annoying the whole time. He's whining and crying, and it's just so annoying. The only satisfying part about this episode is that it ends with him, like, getting his comeuppance, where, they show, like, baby footage of him on the big screen to insult him. And I don't know if that's really, like, the solution to this problem. But, yeah, it's a messy episode. I really don't like it. I'm gonna put it in F. This is not good. The only part of this I like is, like, some of the footage where Jenny is pretending to be a monster. They do, like, a King Kong reference, and I thought that was cute. But this episode sucks. It's trash. But I gotta say, the show only has a couple of those, which is pretty good for a show with this many episodes. Do they have the clip? No. Oh well. Moving on. Stage fright. This is one where Jenny's doing theater, so as the theater kid, I appreciate this concept. Basically, they're doing like Romeo and Juliet, and it's pretty funny. I think Britt gets a pretty funny line where she tries to do Romeo and Juliet, and it's like over the top. But plot-wise, it's not that crazy. Aliens attack, she saves them. Nothing much of note. So I'll probably just put it in like C tier. Yeah, C tier. Yeah, she does actually turn into like a Romeo and Juliet thing, so that's kind of neat. But oh right, she does that. Yeah, this is a mostly visual show. Like, if the visuals weren't this good, some of these episodes would be not so great. But I put it in C tier because theater kid. Gotta have a bias and all. Alright, never say uncle. This is a very interesting episode. It expands the world a bit because apparently Mrs. Wakeman has a sister, and she's like the exact opposite. I believe her name is like Wisteria. I don't know if they have the name here. Yeah, she's this like hippie girl, and it's a really cool idea. Basically, they run into each other and, you know, opposites attract and all that. And this hippie lady has a creation of her own. It's like this weird mud creature. I don't know what he's called. Let's see. I think he's like Kip. Wisteria, yeah, that's her name. Oh, was I saying Vanessa the whole time? Her name's Nora. God. I guess I'm not a real fan. Oh, Glenn. He's a cousin. And I like the idea of having like a nature character, but having him be just like mud themed, I feel like they could have done a little more. He doesn't feel that thought out, but I do really like this Wisteria character. Mostly because a lot of her dialogue is just references to like hippie era songs. Like one of her lines is like an Ellis, like the title of an Elvis Costello song, like "What's so fun about peace and love?" So yeah, there's some neat things there. But yeah, I think this is probably one of the more obscure episodes, but I'm giving it a B because of Wisteria and expanding the world, so give her there. Alright. Spoonful of Mayhem. I don't remember this one. Right. I completely forgot about this one. It's a killer fruit and food episode. My goodness. Were they actually like robot fruit, or were they just like actual killer fruit? Let me see. Yeah, this guy makes like a robotic sentient fruit. Because of course he does. It's a cartoon. And the plot is just her like gathering all the fruit, and then I think he gets in jail because, you know, this probably isn't illegal, but who knows what the hell the laws are in this strange robot world. They don't really expand on that, so this is definitely a C. This is like a low C. I'll put it like here. I do remember the guy sounding kind of funny, but the plot is just very filler. I don't have much to say on it, so let's move on. Double O Sheldon. I remember this one being okay. Basically, he gets recruited to be a secret agent, and let me get the image up for this. We are so close, guys. I do like the concept of this episode, and it has some funny lines. I think there's actually a fight scene with him and Jenny working together. I do like this. I like these guys, but I don't think they show up in any other episode. So, a little wasted. Oh yeah, they're like kidnapping a bunch of other robots that are just trying to exist, and Sheldon's there to help save them. So it's got some neat things. This is another Sheldon episode that I do think is pretty good. So I'll give it some credit. I'll put it in B. So here's the bell curve right now. I guess this is probably typical for a cartoon from this era, but let's see how many better episodes we can find. Okay. Voyage of the Planet of the Bikers. I really like this one. Basically, the biking aliens that keep showing up turn Jenny into a bike out of revenge and all this stuff. And I just like this idea that she's like forced to be in one form the whole episode. Tuck, unfortunately, becomes the guy that has to help out, but he's not too bad this time. So yeah, here's Bike Jenny. I think this is just really funny. It's not too weird because at least she's a robot, but I'm pretty sure at one point in the episode they do the Akira slide, which is kind of funny and wild. But yeah, I've been meaning to draw this, but in the style of like Akira and doing the Akira bike slide, so maybe I'll do that someday. But I think it's a pretty funny episode. There's a kind of an interesting twist of like what the biker people do outside of like doing crime, and it's neat. I'll save that for you guys to watch, but I really like the bikers. They're villains, but I think I really like their designs and different personalities, and probably one of the better recurring ones, because there's not many recurring villains aside from them. So yeah, we're so close. I'm feeling it. I love this, but why did I do this? Why? Oh my god. I'll put it in A. I think it's great. I think it's great! Alright, Queen Bee. This is one of the last Vexus episodes. This is where she pretends once again to be like a normal teenage girl. I don't know if they ever specify if she's pretending to be a human or a robot, but this is her design. Not as good as the other one, but it's okay. Yeah, so this is what Vexus looks like after Cluster Prime, because she's in like a weaker state, I think. She gets like a sort of redesign here. This is what she looked like before. And this is her human disguise? I don't quite get it. So I think she's trying to infiltrate the high school so that she has like favor with the humans. But yeah, she teams up with the Crust Cousins so they can promise. She promises them power and shit, but it of course backfires on them because the new girl is the popular one and they're not, so they have to destroy her. And that's one of the funny things about it's one of the funny things about them. I think they're fun villains. They do the job fine. I love their voices. But besides that, they're pretty much just typical bully characters. I'll put this in, yeah, I'll put it in B. Queen Bee. Kill me now. Alright. Here's another stinker. This one is bad. I wanted to like this one. It sort of works for the beginning. Basically, Jenny destroys a meteorite, and then somehow there's like some sort of toxin or like parasite on it. So the toxin gets on all her friends, and they like change their personalities. So wait, yeah, this is like a weird Comic-Con scene where she wears like a hazmat suit because there's an infection. Yeah, she gets like this meteorite stuff on her and infects these two. And of course, they get all these weird like personality things. So Brad becomes like a paranoid guy and he gets all scared, which is, I just don't know how to feel about this. And then Brad becomes like a monkey. Or Sheldon becomes like this monkey dude and is crazy. And then Tucker is inflated and he becomes a fart. Like he can fly with his farts. And that's when I really want to turn this frickin' episode off. I don't want to talk about this anymore. This is trash. I think this might be the worst episode. Like, legit worst. But there's one more that I think gets onto this tier. Anyway, moving on. Enclosure of Doom. I believe this is the reintroduction of Kilgore. He gets trapped into a place with Jenny. I do like the structure of this episode. It's kind of a secret on like where Jenny is and where Kilgore is. So they have to work together, and I think it's kind of interesting because it's sort of a mystery. You don't know what's going on, and I won't spoil what's going on exactly, but it's a neat twist, and it kind of finishes up a loose thread from earlier. One of the only loose threads that gets tied up, so I think this gun is the only one that shows up in this episode too. It's kind of cool looking. And I just like when they damage Jenny and she's got like all these scratches and shit. It's a cool episode. I think I'll put it an A. And Kilgore is in it. He is a little annoying, but I do like some of his lines. I think he's notable. Alright. Weapons of Mass Destruction. This is the one where she dates a human being. And it's kind of working because they're both weirdos, so they like each other. But he's definitely afraid of machines because I believe his dad got killed in a machine, or at least like badly injured. So she's traumatic against that. Also, she wears like this slightly human look, not as a disguise, but just to look less like a robot, so that this guy doesn't freak out. Funny thing, I believe this guy is voiced by Scott Menville, so I just hear Robin from Teen Titans the whole episode, which is it's kind of funny. Because he's all like shy and meek in this episode, when I usually hear like, Titans! Come on, Starfire! Yeah. Oh! A piece of DeviantArt stuff of Jenny that isn't like cringe. Though I guess they did give her toes, so I'm disgusted. Anyway. Oh, is this in that episode too? Oh yeah, like, I guess this is like a background gag. This show is weird, but it's so fun. Yeah, not much to say besides this cool look. I'll give it like a B. It's not so boring that it goes into C tier. I put a lot in C tier actually, but yeah, this would probably be C tier. Like I said, I'm going to actually release the full tier list later when I clean this all up, and I'll post that in a community post so you guys can see it. But let's get this shit finished. I believe this is the homeschool episode. I don't know how this happens, but Mrs. Wakeman gets the idea to homeschool Jenny because I guess the schooling system is failing her. And Jenny, I believe, gets expelled. Yeah, I think she's like temporarily expelled by the principal. So they do all these awkward things. The only notable thing about this episode is that one of the sisters shows up, XJ8, and I think it's a really funny gag of being like the bouncer and confidant at a dance. So it gets some credit, but it's not that remarkable. I'll probably just put it at the bottom of B here. And I think these C episodes are fine, but they're just kind of like typical, and some of them are a bit stinky. But they're fine. Yeah, I might put this one down here, actually. Okay, Ball and Chain. This is a fun one. This is one with Brad. Probably like one of the last Brad Focus episodes. And one of the biker chicks likes Brad. So they go through the whole, they get married. Yeah. Cartoons, you know? Wacky shit. And you see her without the helmet, because she usually has like a face helmet on. Yeah. She usually looks like this. And this is what she looks like underneath. I approve. But this episode has like one of my favorite gags. Let me see if I can look it up. It's worth it, trust me. Do they have it here? No. Oh yeah, they do. Okay. Hold on, guys. It's worth it.
Ne vous avez les bananes aujourd'hui?
Mais vous avez les bananas aujourd'hui.
Yeah, parts of this episode is about her being sick of having to deal with everyone's shit, so she's just trying to, like, learn a language. And that's why she's just kind of done and why she screams, but I just really love that gag. Ooh. Hello, new viewer. Nice to meet you. Anyway, we're almost done. I'll give this one an A. It actually has some of the best, like, scenes with Brad and Jenny. They kind of talk about how, like, you know, if they actually split up and he actually goes into space, they won't be seeing each other anymore. And I think it's a really touching scene. You know, there's not, like, a lot of these kind of moments in the show, but I do really like this episode because it kind of talks about their friendship throughout the whole series. And, yeah, it's neat. I'd definitely give it an A. I think it's one of the better episodes of this season. And we're getting to the end here. Some of these are not so great, as we will see. Labor Day, let me remind myself, this is the one where, like, Jenny becomes like an Amazon worker. That's pretty much the plot. So, the Skyway Patrol wants Jenny to pay for shit because, you know, Jenny has, being a superhero, has property damage. And now she has to do, like, a bunch of odd jobs to pay off the bill. And it's fine. I do kind of like the part where Jenny talks to her boss and tells him off. So, for that, and because labor is, you know, shit, I'll put it in the top of C tier. Pretty good, if not a little unmemorable. Maybe bottom of B tier. Yeah, that seems good. Okay. The Legion of Evil. So this one brings back a lot of one-off villains. Like the Mr. Scruffles, Vladimir Rat, Lancer, who I didn't even bring up, but he's just like a jouster. Mudslinger, that's the guy. That's the reporter dude. And the Mad Hammer Bros, which is kind of strange without context. And basically all these villains just show up and, like, brick Jenny out. Like, she gets kidnapped by him. Let me see if I can show the clip. Something really weird happens. Basically, Jenny has, like, a Five Nights at Freddy's style exoskeleton. And there's a gag here where they trap her in a bunch of bricks and mortar. And she has to, like, escape her skeleton. Is it? Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, she's about to get blown up. And then this happens. Oh my god. So freaking weird. I have too many tabs open. This is like the time when SpongeBob tried to be scary on Halloween and it's just his brain. It is so weird looking. And this is the only episode where it happens too.
Phew. Way to go, Jenny.
Wow. I didn't even know that was a YouTube poop, right? I didn't know that was in there. So, this is an okay one. I'll put it in C. It's not that great. But it is cool that these villains are showing up again. And, the one thing about this show that's probably its weakest aspect is that there's a pretty weak rogues gallery. That's probably the best thing that Danny Phantom has over it, because there's a lot more memorable Danny Phantom characters than these guys, but I just really like the stories more, and I feel like it's aged a little better than Danny Phantom. Some of those episodes feel very much of their time, and just, they're very stale. Not to say that this show doesn't have those episodes, because it definitely does. But the visual style kind of helps make it more unique and stand out more. My chips are stale. That's how long I've been standing here, man. The Price of Love. This is a Sheldon episode, and it sucks. Sheldon tries to make Jenny jealous by paying her niece, Patricia, I don't know what her name is, to be his girlfriend. This episode is ass. I mean, I guess the idea of him paying a girl to be his girlfriend is kind of novel, because that's pretty much a thing now, even in Japan, and OnlyFans and all this stupid shit. I do like this gag, though. And Nerd be gone. Yeah, this character pretty much doesn't do anything the whole series, except for this one episode. And I think they do this interesting double date thing, where she gets a boyfriend too. I think it's this guy, the weird British punk dude that feels very out of place. But, yeah, it's not a great episode. But it is the last Sheldon episode, so that's good. Do I put it in F? I think I'll just put it in D. It has some redeeming qualities to it, at least, but not great. Is this the one that has that weird... Okay, I don't even want to bring it up. I'm wasting time. Okay, Indestructible. Like indestructible. He thinks he's indestructible because Jenny saves him one time from getting hit by a car, and then he becomes really annoying. And then he learns not to be annoying. And this episode sucks. This one, yeah, I think I'll put it... It's just so boring. It's not, like, annoying, so I'll just put it in D, too. It doesn't deserve the F treatment. Trash Talk. Now, this episode is pretty great, but there is a problem. This has Vexus being in this weird junk state sometime after Cluster Prime, right? Because she gets her ass beat by Jenny and Mrs. Wakeman. But the timeline is so messy. So, from what I can understand, I think this is after the Queen Bee episode where Vexus is pretending to be a human again. But somehow she got on this junk planet with the rest of her lackeys. And as you can see, she's all junked up. And they're trapped on the planet with her, so they try to kill her. But, yeah, there's just something strange about this episode. I love this visual style. They don't go into space a lot, but I really look at these backgrounds. It's really cool. You get this different lighting, like she's kind of, neon or iridescent. I can't say it right now because But this is a pretty good episode. Is this line from that? I think this is a different episode, but anyway. Yeah, I can gush about this show forever, but obviously I was not prepared to do this stream, so let's just move on. I'll give it a B tier because it's a really fun episode, but I mean, if someone can explain the timeline better than I can, that would be great, because I feel lost every time I think about where this episode takes place after Cluster Prime and the rest of these. So there. Okay, 2 more episodes. I think this is the worst one coming up. Samurai Vac. So, remember the really great episode where Jenny goes to Japan? This is like the exact opposite. So Jenny goes to Japan again and fights like a King Ghidorah style monster. And this guy, who's a samurai robot, who's also a vacuum, is jealous of Jenny because he's the protector of Tokyo. And he has this, very stereotypical way of talking. I don't feel like they're trying to be offensive here. That probably wasn't the intention. But I just don't like this character. He's really annoying. He feels like very stereotypical, and like these are the same people that wrote the other Japanese episode, and that one was normal. That one was fine. But something about this is just like really off to me. I just do not like this episode at all. This might be my candidate for worst. It's definitely going in Sheldon's favorites over here because, God, when I was watching this as one of the last episodes of the whole series, I was just like, my eyes were glazed, my soul was escaping out of my body. I just could not give a shit about this episode. I think it's the worst, but honestly, pick your poison. Either one of these are the worst, I think, anyway. But I don't think they've been talked about a lot, so your mileage may vary. And here we are, last episode, kind of an interesting one, but it really, really goes to show what we missed out on. This is Turncoats. The plot is the evil scientist, what's his name? They don't have his name here. It's the guy from Brad Adventure. Let me just pull that up. Is it Dr. Kebis or something? Dr. Locus. Kind of like Dr. Loomis. Basically, he's this crazy, altered, evil version of Nora Wakeman. And somehow he gets these robots under control, and all of Jenny's sisters turn evil because he gets control of them. So Jenny has to fight all her sisters, and there's a bit of a struggle there. And it's a really neat conflict, because this guy was hinted at, and he has influence in the series. But this is the last episode, and he doesn't show up again. And I think he was supposed to do a lot more in this season 4 that never got made. But, yeah, it's a little disappointing, unfortunately. It's just one of those shows that kind of ends on a stinker. I mean, at least a low note. I do think this is a neat episode. I will put it in B tier, but it's not, like, high. And funny thing about it is that the last frame of this entire series is a gag where Nora Wakeman gets eaten by a random tiger or like a leopard that was in her house, and the whole joke is that she's in the leopard's stomach, and then it fades to black and it's the end. And I guess we just assume Nora Wakeman got ate by a cheetah or whatever the hell. And that's kind of the note that ends this whole great show. It is really a shame how season 3 got treated, because there was so much potential with how the series was going to go. I haven't found it, but apparently there was either like a script that got leaked, or one of the creators talked about what season 4 was going to be. The gist was that Misty and Dr. Locus and other villains were going to have more development, more world building, and finality. But it just never was meant to be, I guess, and we're left with this show that we have, which I do think is pretty good. You see, I do think it is pretty consistent. Here's our bell curve of quality. There are some episodes that are more boring than others, but it's mostly because they're typical, like, episode titles. The best episodes are when they really utilize the fact that Jenny is a robot, and how that means for, like, the culture, what, like, robo-racism is rampant in this show, which is very interesting. But yeah, that's pretty much what I would say are the best episodes. And there's some pretty good ones here. Like, sure, there's only 5 in S tier, but that's probably, like, better than I expected. And it's mostly the ones where, like, Jenny gets to show off her transformation powers and get all these cool new designs. Those are my favorite, at least. Now, I might put Sister's Sledgehammer on here, because it is, like, a pretty good fight, too. There is some great choreography in here, but some of these episodes are just, like, figure out this illusion, punch, going, like Monster of the Week style. But yeah, I obviously have a lot of passion for this show, as I've just gushed about it for like 3 hours. And I'm happy that I finally got to make this. Like I said, I'm going to release this at some point. The finished tier list. This isn't final, but I will put a community post of a picture of my final ranking. So it's a little rough and dry, but that is the show. It's officially 20 years old now, and it's still my favorite Nicktoon, aside from Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I don't really count that. I mean, you cannot compare that to this. That's not even remotely fair. But let me pull up something real quick. One thing I should probably mention is that I actually made this template all myself. So if anyone watching is actually interested, I have the template right here. It's on Tier Maker, so if you want to do this yourself and do it better than I did, obviously, go right ahead, free and open. And I guess we'll just end it on that note. As I said in the video I released, whoa, not done yet. As I said on the video I released 2 days ago, I will be making some sort of video for my life as a teenage robot. I'm gonna actually be talking about the Mind Over Matter episode, which I mentioned early in the stream, even though it didn't show up. And this stream has been a mess today, but I am happy that it's out there now. And I'll clean it up so anyone watching later doesn't have to put up with the stupid shit. And hopefully I will get back into streaming like all the time. I'll be screaming, I'll be streaming. I will definitely be doing an October stream. I've been meaning to do a Halloween themed one, but I'll give you more details on that later. I think I'm done, though. I am happy that XJ9 fans are eating very good, at least with the past couple years. This 20th anniversary has been great so far. There was this really awesome My Life as a Teenage Robot, like, reanimated. I'll give you guys the link. It's on Newgrounds. So yeah, there was that. XJ9 got put into Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl last year, which I think I did make a video on, so you can check that out if you want. Also, she was in like a Nickelodeon racing game, and they were making official merch, which I will show in just a sec if anyone is actually watching this still. Yeah. So if any of this has somehow got you interested in the show, the whole thing is streamable on Paramount Plus. And oh no. Oh god. You didn't see anything. I do remember this is Newgrounds, so I gotta okay. I'm just going to end the stream by watching this video again and sharing it with you guys, because I do think it's pretty good. But one more detail. Let me show you this. Apparently they made a figure for Jenny a few months ago. It was a very strange cover with combination with Hatsune Miku and Jenny. So let me just pull this up, because I think this is crazy. This is an official thing from YouTube's. I think it's probably done by now, but there was a strange promotion where they did Jenny and Hatsune Miku. And just to give you an idea how obscure this show is, this was the first piece of official licensed Nickelodeon merchandise for Jenny. And it's a Hatsune Miku collaboration. Miku's cool, but I just couldn't get myself to get this figure because, you know, like, what would that mean on my shelf? Like, anyone who came over, what the hell is that? So, it's cool though. If you like Hatsune Miku, they have a figure apparently. Though, I don't know if it's still being made. Anyway, they are apparently making an official plushie for XJ9. I don't think it's gonna show up. Yeah, these are like fan-made ones, but apparently U2's is making an official one. There was a post by them on Twitter. Can't seem to find it here, but I'm really excited about that news. I'm just gonna put this on and shut up, and then we can end the stream, guys. It's been fun. Let me get the volume. Okay, that should be good. Yeah, I love reanimated projects, so it's pretty cool that they got this made. I like the flip note animation. There's a lot of... Oh, I forgot there's like weird furry shit, but you know, there's a lot of particular people in this fandom. Gurren Lagann, that's cool. So this is a reanimation of the first episode. Is this how it starts? Well, that's ironic, knowing what happens. I do like the TF2 one. That's pretty funny. And that's Tuck. That's most of Tuck's character, just screaming and running.
Slow down there, Slugger. You seem to be like one baseball. Let's turn around and try this one more time.
The voice they got for Tuck is really accurate.
Looks like I'll have to do all the talking.
Robot! There's a robot inside! A hideous, bloodthirsty robot!
Tuck, what are you talking about? Mrs. Wakeman may be weird, but she's no robot. Oh, hello, Mrs. Wakeman.
Oh shit.
Sorry to bother you, but Tuck here saw something freaky inside your house, which he never should have snuck into, but he went in there to get our baseball back, which did not do any permanent damage. And, well, something scared him. Did he run into you? Not that you're scary or anything, but in the right light, or lack of light, with the shadow and, yeah.
And you're a mop.
I'm gonna go now.
Brad? You didn't ask her about the robot!
Will you quit with all the stuff about the robot?
You were saying?
Yeah, I don't know how... Whoa. I don't know how it started, but apparently there's a meme in the community where there's a Peter Griffin Jenny. I wish I can explain, but I cannot.
It seems that some younger robots has forgotten the rules of this household. You were built for one purpose, to protect the planet Earth. Unless you're out saving the world, you should stay in your room. You
Your
must
room?
avoid unnecessary contact with the human population.
Nice Bowie poster.
Especially teenagers. Do I make myself clear, Exchange Knight?
Jenny.
What?
Jenny! Call me Jenny! I changed my name to Jenny, remember? What's the crisis anyway? I left my room for 5 seconds. Do you
Neat.
hear any alarms going off? Everything's totally
This would be cool as pixels.
Gee, I wonder how that volume got turned down.
The meteor monitor detects a C-class particulate heading straight for the Earth.
Shout out to the voice actors.
Do you know how often
They're
I
doing a
get
good
that
job.
volume? I could set my internal clock by it. These meteor thingies always burn up in the app.
Okay, this one's interesting. I feel like if they ever did revive the show, they'd have to do it in CGI because the backgrounds and how the show was animated was so, like, budget heavy. I'd imagine they'd have to, like, either cut, like, on how the designs look or just make it in CGI. And if it looked like this, it might work, but I don't know. But this is fine. Shout out to the animator, at least. He's doing a good job.
I go all the way to outer space and all I end up saving the Earth from is this. You never let me do anything but save the Earth.
She never be ballin'. Now she's ballin'.
Does turning off cause any harm? But no, it's always
Exchange Knight. Don't step that meteor. That's what those aliens.
Meanwhile, no one even knows my name. I want to have friends. Like normal teenagers do. Like who would want to hang out with a rusty hunk of metal like me?
Oh, honey, I understand how you feel. Your powers are still developing, but it's bound to be a confusing time.
Well, I think I'll end it there, guys. I don't. You can watch the whole thing on YouTube now or Newgrounds, but I got some other stuff to do. I gotta start packing, and I'll be gone for a bit. But I hope to be able to do a few more things before the year ends, and it's nice being back. I hope someone out there had fun today. Happy Friday, y'all. This is DRM sailing off. Have a good night.